One of the hardest things for my clients who are new or in the middle of their unmasking journey is coming to the realization that in masking to fit in, they were learning two things. One, they were learning that other people's needs, wants, and conveniences were more important than their needs. And so they don't have the language and emotional muscles to ask for their needs directly. This means that for many of us who learn to mask, we become resentful because we still have the needs, but in not being able to express them up front, we had to learn other tools of manipulation to try and get those needs met. This is why people who mask get in habits of being passive-aggressive, of expecting people to read into things because they've had to read into things, and because being indirect was the only way they could get some of their needs met without being punished. The second thing that people new to unmasking learn is that they don't have a model for any kind of healthy conflict. For them, all conflict is bad because healthy conflict was suppressed and was treated the same as unhealthy conflict. And so when people first start to unmask, they go overboard. They really engage in conflict because they just don't know the ecosphere of conflict. And so you have people in this difficult time where they start to realize that in some ways they've been the bad person, especially in adult relationships that did not set up the dynamics of masking, where they have a partner in adulthood and they hold them to the same expectations that their partner just figure out their needs, and they punish them when they don't, because in childhood, that's how it went. And so they're realizing that in many ways they've been unfair to their partners. They've been meaner than they should have been because they've been passive-aggressive. So they're dealing with that shame and guilt. And then they start to express their needs more openly and therefore more conflictually. And they do it wrong. And they're mean that way too. And their partner, rightly so, goes, what the heck? First you were being passive-aggressive. Now you're just being mean to me directly? But I want you to know that is a normal part of unmasking. Unmasking isn't a pretty process. But that's something as a person who works with adults who are diagnosed with ADHD or autism, that I just tell them, this process is going to be painful in these ways. Have you experienced this feeling of unmasking, of feeling both guilty for how you used to mask and passive-aggressively hold people accountable, and the mistakes that you've made as you unmask because as you were learning to, you just felt mean? You're not alone. And I'd love to hear from you.